The following podcast is a production of University Counseling Services through California State University Northridge. Kaysen Rempel is a doctoral psychology intern for the institution's APA-accredited internship in health services psychology. Every Gamer Has a Voice is a podcast hosted by a mental health professional that's designed to create discussions about discrimination in gaming experienced by those belonging to underrepresented identities. Through sharing personal experiences as well as disseminating research, this podcast is aimed to shine a light on this type of discrimination while also helping gamers and minority groups feel validated and educated on how they can protect their mental health.
Building voices for themselves. It makes me think of, I remember, I can't remember when this was or what clip, but ML7, who, for those who may not know, is another Overwatch creator, content creator. I forget where he's from, but it's some European country, and he was saying that towards the beginning of his Overwatch journey, when he was using voice chat, a lot of people would make fun of him for his accent or the way he said certain words. And it sounded like he just kind of had to keep going with it and working through it, like kind of recognizing like the benefits or like the potential pros can outweigh the cons.
Right, and I mean, look at him now. He's like one of the biggest creators now, and
Right.
everyone loves to have him on your team.
Right, exactly. Yeah. At this point, no one would be making fun of his voice. They'd be like, "Oh, thank God, we have ML7." Probably,
Right.
if anything.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's I think I like that message to inspire the strength. So another question we have is, what do you think people outside of gaming often misunderstand about gaming spaces?
I think that's really hard for me to answer because, like, I'm just in the gaming space. So what I think people kind of confuse about it, I mean, looking from the outside in, I think people sometimes just be like, how do you find this entertaining? I think people just gravitate towards different things that they like, and the gaming, I mean, even inside gaming there's different niches of, like, these competitive games or cozy games, or you have different people who like different games, mobile games. And I think people who may not be interested in any games look out and see, like, well, they see addiction, they see like time wasted, they don't see like the social space of it, like they must be these loners. I think that has kind of shifted over time too, as gaming has become more widespread. But especially like in the early days, you're a gamer, you're a nerd, you're a weirdo, you're a loner. So I think kind of there can still be some notions of that, of like it's a waste of time, people are like addicted to it, and that it's just not a very social thing, when addiction's still definitely there. I think it's more social now more than ever.
Yeah, I think especially with just the popularity of Discord, especially after like the pandemic and lockdown, people, and then just like the popularity of party style games, I think has done a good thing to just like try and break that stigma of like gamer equals antisocial, like mom's basement. That was like a really
Right.
big narrative of gamers, but that I think it's still very much here. And within like I guess the competitive aspect too of, like I said, I work with the esports department on the college I'm at right now, and in the past I have too. And like if someone is practicing football for like X amount of hours per week, no one would bat an eye. But if they're playing video games for that same amount of time, people might see it as problematic, even though they're practicing.
Right.
But they have to put in those hours in that case.
Right.
So, have you noticed any assumptions in Overwatch that players make about each other?
Yes. I think there's still, of course, the assumption that women play supportive roles, they play more feminine characters, and I think some of the biggest, probably the most notable things that I see that's bad with voice chat is like maybe a woman who is like making actual communication, and some guy will be like, "Oh, it's a woman on our team. That's over," or something. Like I feel
Right.
like they don't attack. Like there could be some semblance to be like attacking her gameplay or something. Like that could maybe make sense in a world, even though you probably shouldn't. But attacking like who's playing it is like even more dumbfounding to me. But I feel like that's kind of the biggest assumption that I think a lot of people still have is like women are still in this niche of like you take the supportive roles and you sit back and you do the healing and like, almost like in real life how that reflects, like women are supposed to be in the kitchen. And I think that still has a really big semblance of things like that. But I'm pretty sure I even know that not in our niche, but like in gaming as a whole, I think women are actually now more the bigger population of gamers. But I think that's mostly mobile games. But there's actually like more women playing games than men are now, which is really interesting.
That is interesting.
I don't know
Um,
where that information's from.
no,
Trust me, bro.
yeah, I believe you with all my heart. No need
Yeah.
to fact check, but that is very interesting. And we can see that in other areas of society as well too. Like now, more women are attending like universities than men, where that didn't always used to be the case. But we see like even though the numbers say one thing, these more like discriminatory attitudes are a bit more rigid because right women are expected to play more of the supportive heroes that they're not playing or they're not expected to play like Baptiste, someone who's going to do damage. They're kind of stereotyped as playing Mercy or someone who a character who is like almost thought to elevate other male teammates.
Right. Yeah. No, exactly.
um, so are there ways that you feel you show up differently online than compared to offline? I'm very interested to know this too because I only know you online. The Secret Life
I
of
think there
Ryan.
is. I think I've just built so many fake like fronts of my life that yes, like this gaming sphere for me has always been like this power trip of I'm better than anyone else and I feel very confident of like what I want to say and who I want to be, where I think that it's kind of been a fake front for a while for me because I'm actually very like not confident, and like the boundaries that I have right now in my regular life are so thin that like they just fall over so easily. So I think kind of showing up online, I kind of like put on this like outfit of like I am more confident, and I am really good, and I am the best, when I guess like it kind of adds a little bit of ego to myself versus in my real life where I guess I'm kind of more reserved. I'm not as opinionated or like hard-headed with things and how I react to other people as I would in game. I would say that's kind of how the biggest differences are. Like I'm just not as out and like bubbly, I would say, in real life as I kind of do show up in streams and online.
So like it sounds like you're more headstrong, confident in the this gaming world as opposed to real
Right.
life.
And whether or not that's even like valid or genuine is like still something I'm unpacking, because like am I really confident or am I just like trying to pretend that I'm confident so people think that I'm better kind of thing? So I can't even tell you that right now.
Yeah, I do wonder because something that's more unique about you, Ryan, is your skill level. Like we were talking about off camera, but your experience is different than like the vast majority of Overwatch players. Um,
Right.
do you think a bit of that ego is needed to get to be as good as like top 500 rank one brave?
I almost think it is because you have to like, I've heard a lot of people that when they want to be not mediocre, it's like be delusional. Like you want to be crazy and like go for the most insane things that I think you have to have a little bit of ego to be like, I'm the best. And then you kind of work that into your actual life where if you kind of go playing the game going, yeah, I mean, that's just like something that I do for free in my off time. Like you consider yourself just like a regular like gamer, like you're just not gonna make it up there because you're not gonna try. You're not gonna want to try. So I think you do have to have a little bit of ego to like prove it to yourself and prove it to others that like I can do this. I am good enough to do this. It's just that it can get hard then like what I've done building that up for 10 years to realize that that is not really healthy. And you need to have your own self and sense of self and confidence that's not coming from these external forces.
Yeah, it can, the ego, it can be healthy and even helpful if it's in doses here or there.
Right.
And it sounds like what you're describing, if the ego is like sort of the foundation that the identity is built upon, then it can maybe cause some issues.
Right. I mean, pretty much. That's kind of, I think, how I started is like somewhere along the way when I was a kid, I realized that I felt better about myself when just other things were telling me that I was good. And that came from school, that came from dating, that came from video games, comes from work. So I think building it from there, like I didn't really play the game necessarily to like want to play the game. Like sure I enjoyed playing these characters, but like at the end of the day, it was like you want to get up to that highest rank. And like for what? Like for what? You get to the highest rank, nothing changes, and then someone else gets to the highest rank. It's
Yeah,
like what's even the point?
right. It's like kind of like a constantly moving goalpost of right when you
Of
reach it,
course.
suddenly it's not enough anymore.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, a really, really important thing to touch on, especially you're I very much doubt you're alone in the top 500 leaderboard players who think that way. I think there's like in traditional athletics, there's that term like killer instinct, and how it's sort of needed. You kind of have to believe in yourself, or like fake it till you make it. Delulu is
Right.
the Salulu. I love that one. Yeah,
Yes.
because um, so I know we talked a bit about already about how people might like use voice chat or text chat as a way to just be unhelpful or unnecessarily mean. But how do you decide what to engage with versus what to ignore online? And this could be in games or in your streaming chat as well.
I think it's gonna go into both aspect of my life because you have the streaming side where you have the people in game that are making feedback and commenting. You have their chat who's making and commenting feedback. In my real life with work, I mean, I'm a meteorologist on TV, so I've got my in workplace people that give me feedback, and I've got the people at home who are giving me feedback. So like I've had to kind of navigate of like, I have so many people telling me what I should be thinking, which is kind of how I built my life anyway. But there are different ways that you have to kind of acknowledge it because certain things just like ruin you. I guess I'll start with my like regular work. I mean, the people that are in the building that are working with me, like their feedback matters because those are the people that I'm working with, those are the people who have the experience. Like that kind of comments, like I take seriously. People at home who are sitting on the couch, kind of not who I'm aspiring to be, their opinions virtually mean nothing. Someone can tell me like, "Stop saying this. You're so unprofessional," or "You look trash today." You get all the hate mail, but it kind of also in the back of my mind, I already know like these people are just sitting on the couch. They're not even who I want to be. So why would I take feedback from them? In gaming, I mean, my Twitch chat it kind of, those are the people that I want to be taking feedback from in comments from, do this, do that, because those are the people who are there to be with you. In terms of the regular people in game in the voice chat, I mean, virtually that's just garbage. Like that's even lower of a value than like the people in my real life at home watching me. Like these people that are in these games telling me something is like absolutely like it's not even zero, like it's net negative. So that's almost always a way just to like turn everything off because it just means nothing. It's a bunch of fluff and it's even worse.
Right. So where if you kind of listen to every single piece of feedback you got, that would it's like not even realistic because of how many different directions you'd be being pulled in.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, anyone who's telling you anything in game, it's like not even going to be anything good for you.
Yeah.
Just because it's just not an avenue that people really can even get that far into being that genuine. Even if it is like real good feedback, I think it's just always just not a space for that.
There's a that saying, don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from. I think
Right.
that could kind of help like be a filter to run feedback through to see like is this worth listening to.
Right, yeah. That's what I was trying to allude to with me with the TV side of it. Is like, if I'm looking up to like if I who I want to be, like you take advice and feedback from them. But like if there's people at home just sitting on their couch and like not living their life, like I don't want to be them. So why would I care about what they think or what they say?
Yeah, exactly. For sharing that. Um,
Yes.
so after difficult interactions online, whether they're in game or just any other place online, social media, what does taking care of yourself look like after a difficult interaction?
So I mean, it's kind of the same things as before with the same thing as the in-game stuff, but when you actually have someone that's coming at you, I mean, the first thing you do is just like take out like turn off the headphones, like turn off their chat, because even though you may know that it means nothing to you, like it's still subconsciously going to impact you on some level. Like you're still going to be impacted by it by some level. And I mean, if people are trying to win games and they're arguing with each other over, you know, certain dumb stuff, like you're making the game worse. If someone's coming after me specifically, I mean, you just have to step away. You kind of have to ground yourself again, whether that's with breathing or talking to someone who you do care about, doing some push-ups, like getting outside and taking a breath. I mean, all those still same tactics would apply there, but I mean, sometimes it's even better just to not even engage in the first place and just keep everything off. Keep all the chats and stuff off.
Yeah, it's like almost doing that check in with yourself, and if you know if you're feeling maybe a little like anxious that day or stressed that day, to like proactively turn the chat off before like waiting for something to be said.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I think that like sort of internal checking in can be like a really helpful thing just in gaming in general. Um,
Mm,
with a lot of like again comparing it to traditional sports, if your body is hurting from I don't know like running around a field all day, it's a lot easier to listen to your body and like to listen to like the cues your body is saying of like hey we need to rest rather than to listen to like the cognitive overload. That can be really hard like kind of signals for us to pick up on.
I think it's nearly impossible sometimes when we're playing games like this because we're so focused sometimes on winning and you have so much that's like incoming into your brain that like you're not able to listen to your own body. Like you're just like you're seeing the things that are happening in these interactions and like you're trying to fight and you're trying to win and then the game's over and you lose and you're like your body is like exhausted, like your heart's pounding, you're like oh my god that was the worst thing ever. And then your like instinct is like go again, like I need another one, I need to win, like when if you probably you just sat by yourself for 10 minutes and looked at a wall, you'd be like, I don't think I want to get back on. I think I need a nap, or I think I need to move my body, or I need to drink water or something. I think that especially the mental cues, like we have so much that is distracting ourselves that it's easy just to continue that distraction. Even if you have your phone next to your desk, a game's done, instead of sitting and waiting for the cue, you pull your phone out and you start scrolling, and then you're not hearing yourself.
Yeah, that the comfort, like we kind of, or the distraction is serves as a comfort of like, okay, the mind is already going pretty fast. What can I do? Like pull up my phone, play Mario Kart, in queue, or
I do love Mario Kart too.
yes, yes. Do you have a Switch too?
Yeah.
I recently played Mario Kart World and it was so fun. Like I need a Switch 2.
Orvan, Norway, Cleor.
I'm like gonna get it for myself as a graduation present. So
As you should.
yes, yes, I love that.
As you should.
So next question. We're coming up on the end. I know this was the last one. I added like a little impromptu one after that. I guess will be like a blind box for you because you don't know what it is.
Cute. Love
But what's something that surprised you about being part of the gaming community? And maybe another addendum I'll add is like surprise can be like a pleasant or unpleasant emotion, but maybe like if possible one of each, like a pleasant surprise versus a not so pleasant surprise.
Yeah, I've got an idea for a pleasant one because I mean, the gaming space, it can be something that's really good because one of my friends who I used to talk with a lot, haven't talked to them quite a bit recently, but maybe back during COVID 2021, 2022, is when I was doing teams, like, you would make friends with these other peoples and you would get together, 3 times a week in the evening and you would practice games with other teams playing Overwatch. And so you would kind of make friends that way online. And one of my teammates who I was with, he actually met his wife through Overwatch and like through like some LFG, like looking for group thing. And they just like, she's from Germany, he's from New York. And they like literally they got married. Like
Wow.
they got married. And I've met them in like Disney, so I've met them in person too. And I just think that's something surprising and fun. It's like, you never know where that can kind of come from. Is that there is real social value that can be in gaming when used correctly, but I mean sometimes that line can get blurred really easily and very fast. Something unsurprising or surprising but like in a negative way. I mean, I think it's just like the addiction that comes with gaming. Sometimes I do think times like, people spend hours and hours and hours doing these things that kind of does mean nothing. Or like if you don't have your priorities set, like it really can be like a waste of your life. I watched a TED talk one time which helped me get my dumb phone and like decide to get that. Is like, you've got this many hours in your life, like you most of it's sleeping, driving, going to work, and then it's like you have 10% of your life left with free time that you fill up. And then it's like people are on their phones for 8 hours a day. That's like the remaining 8%. And it's like you're not living your life. And I think that's kind of something that I've really realized with games is like if you're playing these games like as a way to give your life value, like you couldn't be doing it worse. And it's surprising to me that like people can get so wrapped up in the games. I did it myself too for a long time. It's like, that it becomes your whole life and you don't want to spend time with your family and like the people who are that you care about, the things that you really want to do, and it just takes over people's lives. I mean, sometimes things are even made to be that way.
Right. The games are designed to kind of keep you in it. And
Right.
there can be some like with the higher ups who make the design, there can be some like nefarious things
Yeah, like
going on.
predatory actions
Yeah.
and gambling and just things that want to keep you into the game and not in real life.
Um, and your answer really like touches on the how much of a slippery slope it can be amazing and you can find communities, even someone to marry, it's funny you said that. I'm going to a wedding this June. One of my classmates in my program, and he and his soon-to-be wife met through League, and just like a League
No
lobby,
way.
yeah. And it wasn't even like a looking for group. It was just like matchmaker, and
Wow,
yeah, I know.
that's
So
crazy.
it is, and then now cut to, I think it's like maybe 10 or more years later, they're getting married.
10? Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Proud of them though. That's
I
amazing.
know, yeah. Me too. But yeah, like you said, if you kind of lose sight of like purpose or direction, or maybe if you place a disproportionate amount of value on the games or the outcome of games, it can just really um, lead to overuse or even addiction sometimes, or just maybe an umbrella term is like unhealthy relationship with the game.
Right. Absolutely.
So we've made it to the very last question that I snuck in.
Yay.
Yes, we did it, Jor. What words of encouragement do you have for underrepresented gamers who might fear taking up space in the gaming world? Like final pearls of wisdom.
I mean, that is like a really scary question, a really scary thing to answer because, I mean, you kind of just have to go for it. Like, it kind of is Delulu is the Salulu because you have to. It really is like that because if you get in your own head, then they've won. If you're not going to be thinking about what you can do instead of what will they say, then you're just never going to get anywhere and you're never going to have your dreams come true. Something funny was that this didn't really necessarily relate to me being underrepresented, but maybe can translate to that in like terms of, oh, I'm kind of scared to do this and I'm waiting for something to happen in order for me to put myself out there. Well, when I was starting my YouTube channel, I knew that I was okay, like this coming up kind of big player, and I wanted to create the Brig Guide. That was the big video that made me viral or whatever, got me
Yes.
some of the audience that I'm talking about. When I was first kind of deciding when to do it, I was going, oh, no, 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 no. I don't want to do it now. I want to wait until I build up some audience and then that way like people will see it or something, when that was the backwards way of thinking, is that I need to make the video in order to build the audience. And so I ended up making the video and like my viewers just like tripled or something like that. After that video happened, then it went out there. So while that doesn't necessarily relate to like if you're underrepresented, I think it can kind of shift to that, is like you're waiting for yourself to be more confident or you're waiting for something to happen in the world or something to happen to you and then going out there, where it's going to have to be backwards. Like just go, just do what you need to do and then it will come from doing that.
Incredible.
Yay! Love you.
Incredible. Yes. Love you more, love you
We did
more.
it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States.
Oh my God, amazing. Thank you. Thank you. That was very illuminating. Words of hope. And I think it's like it's one of those things where like words of comfort might only get you so far, which is like maybe what you were touching on of it's a difficult question to ask because ultimately um like actions inspire the bravery. Bravery might not just come waiting for it.
Right.
Yes.
I love that. That was
Oh
much more well said than I.
no, 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 no. You're because you really walked us through the journey and your experience, so that was amazing. Thank you so much, Ryan. Is
Thank
there
you.
anything you would like to plug? Where can we find you? Where can the people find you?
Um, I'm going on my mental health journey right now, so I'm still asking myself the question: is there a world where I can play video games healthily like Overwatch? So if I start streaming again, it'll be twitch.tv/HolyShiftKid. YouTube's the same thing, youtube.com/HolyShiftKid. If you want some fun Brig gameplay, there's some educational, some entertaining content. If you ever want to see what Overwatch is all about, you can check it out there.
Yes, and Shift's guides got me from silver to masters. So They work
You
very
ate.
much. Very.
You ate.
Oh my goodness! Thank you. Let's destroy them.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I'm gonna stop recording.